So welcome back to Driven 276. Today I'm just going to make a list of modifications that you can do your 2024 or 2023 to 2026 Colorado that might make it a little bit more useful, a little bit more beneficial to you. Now this list is not all inclusive. Some of these modifications are a little bit more expensive. Some of them are pretty cheap. Um, the list may change from person to person, but these modifications are what I have found most useful and relatively easy to install. Not too bad. There has been some that's been a little bit more complicated than others. But first, I'm going to crank up this Mustang right quick. It's been sitting now for about 2 or 3 weeks. In the past couple of days, it's been dipping down into the teens at night. I just need to start it up. So let's do a really cold start right quick before we head out to get to our place where we're going to discuss the modification list for the Colorado. So as mentioned, it's been quite a while since I've started this, so we're gonna see how loud it is. I imagine being as cold as it is, I think it's maybe 25, 30, probably in the low 20s here in the garage. This is gonna be quite loud. I thought the water might be frozen in here, but actually, luckily it did not freeze and bust. But let's go and get this thing started. As mentioned, this is an all-comprehensive list of all the modifications you can get for your Colorado. However, one of the first things I would actually recommend is actually your wheels and tires. And I've mentioned that in several different videos. Mine actually are the DX4 Terrain 17 by 8.5s. I'm running 285 70 17s, the Ruby Trex, as I've discussed in the two prior videos. They're pricing wise, they're not too bad. Actually, they're probably one of the more budget in for the wheels anyways. And so far they've done good. I mean, the finish has been good. I've taken them off-roading a couple times. No problems with finish. It depends on the color if you like them. I think these come in actually matte black and bronze and maybe silver, just depending on what you like. But that's one of my first recommendations on this list is actually wheels and tires. If you're gonna go off-roading, that's one of the most important things, overlanding, camping, if you just need to get off-road. A lot of the Colorados, of course, they come just with the standard all-terrains. They're not necessarily kind of the more rugged, I guess, all-terrains, we'll say. So if you want to actually get off-road, something you can actually has a good, decent ply. These are actually 10-ply tires. So you can actually, if you do get in a situation where you're going over a rock bed or something like that, it makes it a little bit easier. That's the first thing. One of the next things I would mention, of course, is LEDs. And there's many different LEDs that you can buy. The ones I have here are from a turn signals, and I have low beams, high beams, reverse taillights LEDs. I've replaced about every halogen bulb with an LED. Branding wise, it depends on the LED. I've used Last Fit, and I've actually used Hot Glow because that's actually my primary light. That's actually my low beams, and also my ditch lights is the Hot Glow, and they've actually been very good. They've been very reliable. I say I've actually had those in the truck now for probably a good, gosh, I have 18,000 miles on the truck now. I haven't even had it a year. But I've had them on the truck now probably for about, I'd say 12 or 13,000 miles of that. I've been off-roading, quite a bit of night driving. I've used them quite a bit. And as you know, with the Colorados, they actually use the low beams as your daytime running lights. So the low beams are on basically all the time, and I haven't had any problems with them. So the Hot Glow, I would highly recommend. They actually do fit in the housing very well. As you know, if you've actually replaced any of the low beams in these this generation Colorado, it's a very tight fit. I have a video actually where I did the install of the low beams, and if you want to watch that, you can. I'll put a link up here or down here somewhere of actually how to install those. But those do actually go in, and they're actually perfectly fine and fit. One of the next things on LEDs, and again, I was going to try to do a 5 or 6 or a top 5 or top 10 or something like that, but there was just several mods I wanted to discuss in this video that I felt like were very important. So we'll kind of lump LEDs all together. One of the other LEDs that I think that are very beneficial that the Trail Boss doesn't necessarily come with, or that I'm aware of, is your fog lights. And we'll get to another mod that I feel like that before you get a lot of lighting, get involved with a lot of lighting that you'll absolutely need. But fog lights, and these are actually the ones from eBay. I think I paid $60, $70 for them. I'm sorry, actually not eBay. I did get these from Amazon too, but you can get them from eBay. There's several different vendors that you can purchase these items from. You don't have to select one vendor, you can pick and choose. But now I did get the fog lights there from Amazon, and I think they were between $60 and $70. And I have them wired up to a wireless switch panel, which I'll get to in a minute. But again, these were very easy to install. They fit in the stock location. There was actually a piece right here that's popped right out. Again, I have an install video on that too. If you want to watch it, just check that out. Again, I think that the lighting, if you're going off-roading, is also important, along with the tires, the wheels and tires, because there's going to be situations that you actually get involved in not driving. And you need that. You need actually good lighting, and actually going from halogen lighting to actually a good LED, it's a world of difference. So I do highly recommend that. So let me step around back and talk to you about the next modification. I feel like that's really beneficial. The next modification that I would actually highly recommend would be a good bed cover. There's several different variations. There's actually the soft covers and there's the hard covers. There's tri-fold and there's roll up in the soft covers. This one actually is a tri cover from Most Plus, and they actually did reach out to me there a while back, and actually I did take them up on installing this. And the install and uninstall is very, very simple. So if you're doing camping or overlanding, it's very easy to take off and put like a bed tent on there, and it will hold your items in the bed of the truck, and they will stay dry. I've actually had this bed cover through hand car washes, and I actually wash the truck at the house, and I keep things in there. I'll show you here, of course, and I keep several items in here, and it stays actually absolutely dry. It rains on it. I've never actually had a lot of water. There might be a couple dribbles coming. I'll be completely 100% honest and transparent. There might be a couple little wet spots in the bed of the truck after a hard rain, but in a sense of actually, dripping or actually getting a lot of things wet, I've had no issues. So I can't say enough good things about the Most Plus bed cover. Very easy to install. You've probably seen, if you've watched the install video of this, you've seen how you kind of remove it here, and it's just easy to do. It's a very simple process. So that's all you have to do to really kind of get it up here. I'll move it up here, and it folds on back. It folds on back, and you can tie it in with your with these right here, and it keeps it held down really easily. So I think that that's actually a really recommended modification that I would do if you're actually doing any type of camping, overlanding, or gosh, if you just want to keep anything dry in the bed of your truck. It's not very expensive whatsoever. I think maybe $200. And I think that that's a very beneficial modification. So next we'll kind of discuss the other modification that, since we're back here anyways, I find if it was very, very cheap, but I found it very, very beneficial, is this cargo cover. Now this is very easy to remove and install, of course, because it just hooks onto your latches here. But if you're going grocery shopping, you don't realize how hard it is to actually keep extra. You want extra storage with the truck, and you have all the storage back here, but you're gonna have things rolling around unless you have something to keep it stable. And they make different storage options, absolutely, for a truck that you can actually get really, really expensive. You can have drawers and everything back here, absolutely. And if you can do that, go for it, because there are some awesome options out there. But if you're just wanting something cheap to kind of hold some groceries in, I don't think this was more than $20, $25, and it's been really, really good. And it really does hold groceries and just various items in the back really stable. So that's another one of the items I would recommend purchasing with, with the Colorado that's been very, very beneficial so far. So stepping inside here, I mean, you've seen me actually use this quite often. And this is actually just the wireless switch panel. I will say that this thing it's been great. It's been wonderful. I mean, again, um, it actually connects to a panel underneath the hood of the truck that actually is wired into all the lights, but you don't have to go through the firewall. It's very, very easy to use. So I'll show you kind of here. I'll step in front of the truck and show you what you can do with it if you haven't seen already. So let's do that. Let's step in front of the truck. So I have this wired up to wherever I do have to have my lights on for it to be active, but you just turn it on. I think it's hard to see in the light. I'll be honest with you, that the light in it is not the greatest. So let me see here. There we go. Yep. Okay, so it's on. So as you saw, the fog lights kicked on there. So if you want to actually use the ditch lights here, let me try to see if you can focus here a little bit on. I can focus. If you wanted to use the ditch lights, I got it set up right here. Okay. So as you can see, that's the ditch lights. And it's actually just as easy to turn off here. So here is the fog light button. They're off. And we will turn those off. And there they are. Okay. So that's easy. I mean, you can actually be a little distance away from the truck even and still operate it. And I do have it also connected. It's another modification if you're interested. I've done all install videos for every single one of these. So if you want to watch, you can go through my playlist or channel list and look. I did actually wired it up to the switch panel up to this 12-volt plug-in in the back because my truck did not come with one. So that's been very helpful too. So those are just some of the very small modifications that you can do to your 2024 Colorado that might be beneficial if you're just wanting to make more use of it, or if you're just wanting to just do some different things that are not too expensive and just make a huge difference, honestly, overall. But I just wanted to make this video because I really hadn't discussed, or since my 10,000 mile update about having some problems with the Colorado, I really hadn't talked about a lot of positives of it. But since then, I have 18,000 miles on it, like I mentioned, and I haven't had any problems out of it so far. It's been a really good truck since then. So in the last 8,000 miles, it's done good. And as I mentioned, that was a wiring issue. I hate that it happened. I hate that I was out of the truck for so long. But honestly, so far, since then, it's been okay. Coolant smell, I still have that from time to time. I have had a little bit of coolant loss. I think, now I'm not 100% for certain, I think it might be a bad radiator cap, possibly, or reservoir cap. I'm gonna get that and replace it before I take it into the dealer. But I will eventually probably take it in before the warranty's up, just to have it pressure tested again, just to see if there is any leaks. It's not leaving any spots on the driveway yet, nothing like that, but I have noticed the coolant went down a couple times, or once at least, and I did fill it up just a little bit of coolant, not a whole lot. But now I have seen people start to have a little bit of coolant loss, and it kind of get progressively worse over time. So I'm gonna keep an eye on it. But so far, since then, since the time I had it in the dealer, I haven't had it back in the dealership. And it's been reliable outside of the coolant issue. And I just wanted to kind of share, a little bit of what I've done to the truck overall and just some of the things that might be beneficial for you if you'd like to do something to your truck. And I'd like to hear about some of the things you've done so far to your Colorado, or maybe to just your mid-size truck in general, to make it more beneficial or more useful for your use case application, whether it be off-roading or whether it be towing. I have towed with this truck. I've towed my Mustang. And I plan on maybe doing that again in the next coming year. It just depends. It's a very, it can be useful for a multitude of different things. So just share your thoughts and experiences. I mean, in general, of just what you've done and what's been helpful, and maybe your recommendations for what, if there's something else you think that I should do to mine. But I appreciate you all joining in, and I appreciate for the support, and until the next one, see ya.